everybody, I'm Zinger for the Dusty Cave, doing a board game review today for Space Cadets. Created by Brian Sidney and Jeff Engelstein of Dice Tower fame. Published by Stronghold Games. So, what I have is a little bit of footage of us playing the game. I won't go into too much detail on how the game is played because, frankly, you can find a million videos out there, even ones made by Jeff Engelstein himself. So, and then afterwards, I'll give you my final thoughts of the game. Okay, so let's look at a brief overview of the components of the game. I mean, you have various stations like sensors and helm. You have your captain sheet that is kind of organizing the turn. Damage and repair, your space tile maps that have different obstructions on them that do different things to your ship. Shields. You have your engineering, your tractor beam, and then a whole bunch of tiles and cards and chits and all sorts of stuff. All these little cardboard Tetris pieces, and so a bunch of tokens and stuff like that. And a rule book, of course, and the little bag that you pull tiles out of. So, I don't know. Oh, I've mentioned this before when I was reviewing the Catan Anniversary Edition. I don't like wooden dice. They just feel too light, and sometimes they're just not made correctly. These looked okay. I just don't like wooden dice. That's my own personal thing. And so you have all these stations, and basically what everyone is doing is they're doing their own thing in the 30 seconds that they have to do it, and we're all going at the same time. And why the game is so innovative is because it's a cooperative game where nobody can tell you what to do, like in Pandemic or something like that. And so everyone's doing their own thing, and based on how everybody does, that's how well the ship does. So if you have a really weak person in the game who's not good at their job at all, it's going to really make the game struggle. Now, I know, like I said, there's videos of how all of these stations work, even the ones that Jeff Engelstein himself had made and posted on YouTube, which really helped. We watched them all before we played the game, and well, let me show you our video footage of us playing it, and then I will give you my final thoughts. "15 seconds.
Let's see how that works.
Time's up. Time's up. Alright, so what's the first one then that we solve? Shields. So what did you have?
I have a 1 here. I have, these are any 5, so that's a 1. I have another 1 pair and a 1 pair.
So we got 1 shields all the way around.
On everything.
Okay. How'd we do with the helms?
Did much better this time.
Alright.
So, do a fast left, and you're facing this way. And then we cruise, and then we do 2 U-turns, so that we remain in the same area and close to that crystal.
Yeah, so why didn't you do that before?
Because I did not get the right cards.
Alright. How'd we do on sensors?
I only got 2 right out of the 3 that I had to get the super lock.
But we would have a lock on that crystal.
Yes.
Because we're with
Nice, so we're locked.
Alright. And so then once we do the tractor beam, we have 2 energy on the tractor beam, and we could try to flip over things to suck that in and accomplish part of our mission. But there is an enemy ship that has a lock on us, and we didn't distribute any energy to weapons.
Oh snap!
And so then, how did you do? What did you get for circles? Looks like tractor beam has 2. The green circle has 2. Shields have 2.
Weapons have 2.
So yeah, you did alright. Yeah, weapons had 2. We'll need weapons eventually, I guess, right?
Pretty much everything.
Jump has 2.
Pretty even.
Damage careful. Yeah, that goes good.
Yeah. And then we have some things to set aside to repair, and All right.
And then a tractor beam? Or is that resolved later?
Tractor beam's result, but we didn't have any energy on tractor beam, do we?
Yeah, we have two.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant the jump.
Nope.
Nothing was on jump. So, all right. So there's our 30 seconds of gameplay footage. It didn't quite work for me. The problem is, I think it's too difficult for its own good. While all the little games are just simple, flick a disc or turn over tiles, reach into a bag and pull something out, while all of them are, very simple games in themselves, when you put them all together and then you have your mission map and your captain map and people are switching stations, and then when you take damage in the first turn and then all the energy going to those stations sucks up all the energy because you got damaged and then you can't use it, and then repair is, you got to wait a whole other turn to get to repair. I think repair should be in the front. I think the helm should have been easier, and 30 seconds wasn't necessarily easy for some of them. It just needed to be simplified. I think the Engelsteins are a very smart family based on the things that I hear, from Ludology and the Dice Tower and all their podcasts. And maybe I'm not as smart as them, and so this is harder for me to figure out. I think it's too smart for its own good. One thing I will say is the videos that were produced by Jeff Engelstein, that you can actually link from the Stronghold Games timer, were spot on. They were awesome. Very well done. The timer for the iPad, very well done. I loved it. I mean, we even sat down and watched all of those videos before we played, and we got partway through turn 2 and just weren't interested in finishing it. A game should have an easier barrier to entry, I think, than Space Cadets does, because to teach it is really hard because of all the little little things fiddly things that you have to do to set up and take your turn. Yeah. Also, as far as like the components go, I mean, granted, the visual aesthetics of the game are very nice. It looks like something that you'd see on Star Trek, and you'd be touching to add energy to the different sections. However, I don't know. A little too flimsy. I mean, I'm sure that the production value would go real high if you were to use the Fantasy Flight nice thick cardstock. Other than that, I think like this bag is super huge compared to the amount of tiles that you're pulling out of it. But I guess you're not supposed to see what's in there. And those are just little things though. But yeah, it just didn't work for us. But yeah, thumbs up for the iPad timer and the presentation on teaching the little things. But as far as the game is concerned, I think it really hits the right audience. It's got to hit a group that's ready to do it. So when I go if I want something that has that bridge command feel to it, I'm going to go to Space Alert, or I'm going to play Artemis. Because you can get Artemis real cheap on the iPad now, and it even plays along with computers. And Space Alert is just an old-time favorite of mine and some of the people that I usually play with. It has more of a hurried feel, it's simpler, and it goes a lot quicker. So, yeah, Space Cadets, I would say check it out, maybe play it. Maybe if the Engelsteins are teaching you, it'll be a lot more fun. But for me, it just didn't work out.